And just like that, Lincoln Riley rumors have popped up around Auburn's coaching search. I'm not buying it.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, hanging out with us. Auburn takes on Houston and Birmingham this weekend. We will touch on that matchup towards the end of the show. Jon Sumrall to Auburn continues to build steam. It almost seems unanimous at this point. Is that good or bad? But look, over the last 48 hours, Lincoln Riley rumors of him being tied to the Auburn job have popped up. And as fun it is to think about that for a second, just because of, the Heisman quarterbacks that he's coached and the electric offenses, I'm not buying it. One, Darrell. Two, I don't think the fit makes a ton of sense. And three, I asked the question, what does Lincoln Riley really want when it comes down to all of it? But to think about it, an exciting offensive-minded coach being tied to Auburn, it's cool, but I think there are other fits that would make more sense for Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, I haven't spent too much time entertaining the idea. As nice as it would be, is because I don't think it's realistic. I think anytime during coaching searches, there's a couple points that need to be made here. Sometimes, and most of the time, the candidate that ends up getting the job comes out of nowhere and no one talked about, right? On the flip side of that, there are times that names get floated as viable candidates, and there's not a snowball's chance that's going to happen. And it's put out there by agents. It's put out there. People know how the game works. If you believe the theory or the narrative that a lot of people at SEC Media Days that I respect, that have Oklahoma ties, and other people, if you believe that Lincoln Riley went to USC because he did not want to have any part in the SEC when Oklahoma was put in there, I don't know if I believe that or not. I don't. Right. I think if you're a competitor and you're a successful coach, that would be soft to say, I'm going to jump ship so I don't have to coach in the toughest conference in America. Now, that being said, USC is a premier job. I mean, it's not in the SEC, but it is. It's lights, camera, action, glitz, LA, palm trees, tradition. I consider them
something in college football that no one else can offer, as well as just one of the biggest brands.
They're a blue blood. I think they're a blue blood. And so, yeah, the right name recognition, all that. So I don't buy this. I think this is more of a agent thing for either more NIL at USC or bigger contract. Now, could I see him leaving and going somewhere else? LSU perhaps.
Florida.
And, I saw some things yesterday from somebody I really trust, a magazine, a pro football magazine that's got a lot of good information that, the Giants might come a knocking, the New York Giants for Lincoln Riley. Okay. So not, there's other things in play, but I don't think Auburn is a viable, we've heard he's reached out, but he's made very clear to Auburn that there are other jobs. I don't know if I buy any of that. I think he's where he wants to be. It's a premier job. You can win it. I mean, look what he's doing recruiting. Yeah. I mean, his class in recruiting, and look at the quarterbacks he has currently on the roster. So I think that's just noise. I really do.
I do too. And the noise could be coming from different places. It could be coming from agents, his agent. It could be coming from Auburn for, some sort of smoke screen. But I think it's just noise. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you there. As we kind of get further along in this process, and we'll get to Jon Sumrall's consistency throughout all of this in a moment, does it seem like there's any other folks that maybe have come and gone in this discussion where you'd be surprised? I think I would put Brent Key in that situation. I know he was there kind of early on, and I'm not saying this because of the public, was cut me open and see what I bleed or something like that. So I bleed Georgia Tech or something. It isn't because of that, because what else is he supposed to say? But I just don't think Auburn's heading in that direction. Do you have any more that are like, hey, this might have been fun, but now like I don't think there's a chance of it?
I think Key's a good example because I've never thought he was going to leave Georgia Tech, and then you hear reports that he has interviewed with Auburn. I guess my whole take is any of these candidates, and another one that I'll mention here in a second, if you've interviewed, why interview if you don't want to take the job? I mean, is it a courtesy interview? You don't want to burn any bridges? Maybe. To me, the name that's kind of come and gone for me is Franklin. I mean,
that's a good one.
I don't think that he was ever a viable option for Auburn, but I think he's somebody you have to interview. And I've said this before, he's somebody that would do a really, really good job in the interview. He's a good interview. Mm-hmm. He's good in the living rooms with the kids. He's a good recruiter, but there's some surfacey issues there. I mean, there's some core issues there that to me doesn't make it a good fit. So I think he's one you'd interview, you'd talk to, but I don't know if it's a come and gone type situation, like you said, where you'd ever take him as a serious viable candidate.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been pretty consistent with saying like, I think he would do a good job here, but I don't think we ever really considered him. So, and that's something you and I disagree on as far as what he would do, but my opinion on it doesn't matter because I don't think it's going to happen. Another name that's kind of popped up lately, and I think it's popped up almost everywhere, but Clark Lea is interesting. And I don't think I would need to see him be successful without Diego Pavia before I would get remotely excited about Clark Lea.
Yes, I think the reports are there's smoke there that he is going to interview with Auburn. There is smoke that he is a somebody that Jon Cohen thinks highly of, somebody that President Roberts might think highly of. But but there is some definite reservations. The whole Pavia thing is the biggest elephant in the room. I mean, what did Clark Lea look like? Now, he was rebuilding Vanderbilt, but 3 years ago, before when Auburn went in there and boat raced them, and he didn't have Pavia.
Yeah, like, what was it supposed to look like? You know,
right. So, is he capable of sustaining getting a good quarterback to play at Vanderbilt? I mean, Pavia is a classic example of a guy that just carried a team on his back and led them to wins that they normally wouldn't sniff. Okay, so what does Vanderbilt look like without him? Okay, that's one question. The second question is he capable of going out and getting another quarterback to carry his team? And was the Pavia gold mine due just to the fact that two of his coaches went to Vanderbilt too? I mean, how likely was he to get Pavia if Kill and Beck weren't there? And so that's the thing. Did he get him because
Kill and Lee's a package deal? We get Jerry Kill in there too. I'm like,
well, Beck too. I want Beck. Beck's the offensive coordinator. And
if they're all three, if they're a package deal, that's way more appealing.
Yeah, because I think they do more with less than anybody. I mean, they did that at New Mexico State. So if you have actual talent on a roster, so I mean, I like Lee.
That dude, like everywhere he goes, that program just ascends while he's there. I mean, Minnesota, it's unbelievable.
Minnesota, remember now he has some health problems. Yeah. He has seizures and stuff. So I don't know how that plays into what his role is, but he's a very good coach. Beck is a very good coach. If Lee, who's a defensive-minded coach, was willing to come and just say, yeah, Durkin's running the defense, Beck's running the offense, let's go get us an elite quarterback. He's hard-nosed. He's disciplined. I will say the players love him, absolutely love him. You can do worse than Clark Lea. I mean, I wouldn't be.
You can evaluate, right? I mean, that's been the whole thing. We're spending all this money on guys in the portal that are highly ranked in the portal. Then they're fine, but they're not really what you're paying for. And Vandy's gone to the portal and gotten some dudes that are way cheaper. And so how much of that is coaching? How much of that is like recognizing fit? How much of that is just Diego Pavia as a special player? And we all know that players like that are contagious. We saw it with Cam Newton. We saw it with Nick Marshall. And how much of it is like just true evaluation and saying like, hey, you're worth this amount of money with the limited NIL that Vandy has. Like, he's interesting to me. I don't know how fired up I am about it, but like, he isn't, because also like it would make sense for him to leave Vandy to come to Auburn. Yeah, I know he's a Vandy guy and all of that, but like that's a step that would make sense. And we've kind of talked about that with other guys, like would it make sense for him to leave? That one, like it clearly would make sense.
I was trying to think of an analogy of a guy that had sailed under a lucky star by having a quarterback for a couple years, and when then that quarterback left, the team fell apart. And honestly, Ed Orgeron came to mind. You know, I know he had a little bit of success at LSU before Burrows got there, but after he left, you know, he had that 1 year where he was decent but not great, and I think LSU won 9 or 10 games. Then he had the next year where obviously they were a juggernaut. And then what happened after that?
Yeah,
right. You had TJ Finley as your quarterback, and he just got out of coaching.
I really thought you were about to take a shot at Bill Belichick there. That's where I thought you were heading.
No, Cleveland, North Carolina, on the bookends. Yeah. But let's be honest, who was the defensive coordinator? Who was the defensive coordinator on that Cleveland team? Nick Saban, and got lit up.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, I got to say something real quick. It's just very funny. Sometimes I like to watch YouTube videos of previous Auburn games, like from different eras.
Sure.
And look at stuff. And I happened to catch myself watching the 2021 Auburn Ole Miss game against Lane Kiffin, where Auburn put 31 on the board and looked flawless offensively.
It's really the last time I left the game with hope.
Yep. They panned to the sidelines, and a clearly frustrated, befuddled DJ Durkin is standing on the sidelines while Bo Nix and Jarquez Hunter and Tank Bigsby are carving him up. And it was just funny, ironic watching that. It just jumped out at me. So, yeah.
That's fun. That's fun. Jon Sumrall seems to be unanimous throughout this entire thing. Is that good? I think so. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. Darrell, it's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered. Powered by DoorDash, just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. I'll go with Cam Coleman. I think it's safe to say he delivered this past weekend with two of the more impressive catches you'll see by anybody in all of football. 10 catches, 140, 150 yards. He was electric. Who delivered for you, Darrell?
I am now about to utter the words that I have been waiting all year.
I almost said him just to troll you.
Oh, I would have been
angry.
Ashton Daniels.
There it is.
Yep.
That's it.
I mean, think about it. Dual purpose. What he accounted for.
He delivered
himself.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Just like Ashton Daniels and Cam Coleman delivered for Auburn, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You can save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday to keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day promo period through November 18th. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall. Can you imagine buying Auburn gear anywhere other than with our friends at Alumni Hall? The last time I went into Alumni Hall, I bought a new hat as well as a cheerleading outfit for my oldest.
I got a hoodie. I did something today that I normally don't do. I usually go into their locations, but I just ordered something online and it arrived today.
Did you? What'd you order?
An Albee hoodie. The Sailor Albee. I don't have, as long as I've followed Auburn, I don't have much gear with that logo, that classic logo. I think you got a quarter zip with it, a fire orange one that I like that you wear. So I needed a new hoodie.
Yeah.
And I got it. It's pretty sweet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. 3 great physical locations in Auburn, Opelika, and Huntsville. And, of course, online like Darrell just did at alumnihall.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Tell you what, Jon Sumrall to Auburn has pretty much become unanimous across, whether it's national media, most of the local media is feeling that way. And you're seeing more and more just kind of reports that are kind of confirming it. And who knows if they're actually getting information or if it's just groupthink and they're just guessing. But it's been pretty consistent. It's been well documented on the show how it's kind of unique, how quote unquote obvious it seems, which makes you kind of wonder, okay, is this by design? Does Auburn have other things going on? What is Jon Cohen cooking up? But regardless, I think it's good. If it's Jon Sumrall all the way through, I think it shows that Jon Cohen had a guy, then he went out and got that guy, which is good. Great. You can disagree with Jon Cohen or whatever, but we all agree Jon Cohen needed a plan and he needed to execute that plan. So that's one thing. Two is, if it's not Summerall and they've put on this facade where it looks like it's Summerall the entire time, and then they've got something working out in the background, once again, that is Auburn executing a plan. So I think Jon Sumrall kind of being this unanimous consensus, he's going to be Auburn's next head coach, regardless of if it actually happens or not. I think it's good for Jon Cohen and the Auburn Tigers.
I do. You like the stability, and it's very rare that a name emerges early on in the process. But there's in the industry, people are saying he's a rising star and he is a wanted coach. And if you don't get him, Auburn, and if you play around, someone else is going to. He will have a power 4 job, very quickly, more than likely next year. So he was identified as a fast riser in this business. He was identified as somebody that had attributes and characteristics that it's just, that's the one thing that causes me pause, is because the odds say when you hear a name as early as Jon Sumrall and everybody's on and everybody's on board that he would be a great fit, and you're hearing that people at Auburn, that decision makers, or not decision makers, people that are movers and shakers like him, that tells you that could be really just a formality. But I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you make it a formality and you don't at least entertain A, trying to catch a bigger fish, and B, interviewing other candidates. Make people tell you no. If Summerall is your 1A, despite interviewing 6 or 7 other people, that's one thing.
Sure.
And the other thing about it is not having a search committee. Jon Cohen saying, I am the committee, you're more apt to zone in on your dude. Oh, I do too. You're more apt to zone in on your guy, right? Your dude that you have earmarked. And maybe that's why a lot of this seems to make sense. Again, love Jon Sumrall, have for a long time. Even when he was at Troy, I thought, man, this guy eventually down the road would make a great replacement for somebody at Auburn if they retired or got fired or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts of what he would do, who he would bring, who he would retain. But it just causes me pause because it seems too true, too lines up too easy, too right.
And if that's the way it goes and it was this simple from the get-go, fine. That's fine.
Well, again, historically, the only time I can remember since 1992 being involved in Auburn coaching searches where a name emerged early, stayed with it, it was no surprise, and that's who Auburn hired, was Tuberville. I think there was some Gus Malzahn. I mean, I think that, but I can't remember. I remember Auburn was very much in on Kirby Smart then. Remember, they interviewed Kirby Smart. He wanted to find out about all the possible, there was issues that he wanted to look at. And
gosh, can you imagine?
Yeah. So
can you imagine, where would we
be? That's why I didn't think that Malzahn was a slam dunk, because for a while there, it looked like Kirby Smart. Yeah. That's kind of where I am with that one.
Gosh, I forgot all about that. Yeah, I think Auburn thought they had him.
They did. And he started asking questions that didn't necessarily line up to what I think Auburn wanted to hear. And I think the other thing was Auburn wanted an assurance that if the Georgia job ever opened, would you stay at Auburn or take that Georgia job? And Kirby Smart could not give that assurance. And it's almost like what I was worried about with Lane Kiffin 2 years ago or three. Right. That if Alabama opened, he would go, right? Because he wanted to prove himself. He wanted to go back there and make a man. So that was a concern. But again, you guys have pointed out to me a million times, and you're right. You always bring me back down to earth on that false narrative that I worry about, is that when's the last time somebody left Auburn for a better job?
Yeah. But there are situations where like it would make sense for Kirby to have left Auburn to go there.
Yep.
Would Lane have left Auburn for Bama? I don't know. But I get it. All right, but all in all, yeah, Jon Sumrall, I think I don't think I have to worry about it. If he is Auburn's next head coach, I don't think we have to worry about him leaving Auburn for Kentucky one day. Auburn basketball, boy, do they have a major test and a major opportunity this weekend. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Can't imagine wagering on sports anywhere other than with our friends at FanDuel. And sadly, at the time of us recording, the line is still not up for Auburn in Houston. I imagine Houston will be a pretty solid favorite, Darrell. And if you believe in the Auburn Tigers, regardless of what it is, I got a feeling that Auburn money line is going to be pretty enticing.
I'm going to guess and say it's going to be 8.
Okay. That's a good line.
I think that Auburn is starting to find some pieces and some rotations and some combinations that make sense, that are coming into focus, and that's a great job by Stephen Pearl starting 3 different lineups in 3 different games just to see what combination situationally works the best. And so I think Auburn's starting to find its footing there. And, of course, Keyshawn Murphy, big question mark, hasn't played since game 1, had a great game 1 against Bethune-Cookman. I think he's going to be pretty healthy, and I think he can give you 16 to 18 minutes. That's why they held him out against Wofford. We're seeing Emeka Opurum start to come on.
We're still in the ad read.
Yes.
Okay. All right. No. Okay. Keep going.
So because of those factors,
yes.
I probably gave too much detail. Because of those factors, I think that this line is shrinking.
Okay. Oh, you think it's shrinking? I got you. Yeah, I can't wait to see when it comes out for sure. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. My bad, my friend. That you were jumping into the analysis. Auburn taking on Houston Sunday in what's going to be one of the larger marquee non-conference games this season. 2 teams that were in the Final Four a season ago that have 2 incredibly different storylines going into it. Houston smells it. They can almost taste it. They know they've got a shot to win the whole dang thing. They know. Auburn, very close a year ago, but it's a full reset. New head coach, only Tahaad Pettiford coming back. I mean, we all know the story about Auburn. And Houston's going to be a favorite in this game. The ESPN analytics are giving Houston a major chance to win this. Darrell, I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'm more confident about the Auburn Tigers than most going into this game in Birmingham on Sunday.
I feel better about it than I did before Tuesday's game. I saw some things Tuesday that were very encouraging. I know that Kelvin Sampson is a very, very much fan of the Auburn basketball program, and vice versa. I heard Stephen Pearl say on the postgame show with Andy Burcham he's going to have to pinch himself as he coaches against one of his idols, and I'm thinking, get that crap over with before the ball tips. I mean, before the whistle blows. But here's what I know about Kelvin Sampson. He will find a way to limit Keyshawn Hall. The games and the types of games that Hall's had, I think is going to be a lot more difficult against Houston because Sampson will draw something up. This is where I think Pettiford goes off. A, he goes off in big games. B, for whatever reason, look at his home and road splits, and especially neutral floors. Holy cow, does he go off?
Yeah, so neutral floor games are the big ones, right? Those are the big games. I'm with you. And part of the reason that I feel better about this game than most is I really am making the assumption that Tahaad's going to pop for 20. I really am I'm actually comfortable assuming that going into this game.
If Hall, who's going to be very, very difficult to get him in the 20s, but if he can still stay in the 16 to 18 range with whatever Houston's going to throw at him, and Tahaad gets 20, and then you get that secondary scoring from guys like Freeman, Overton, Murphy, who are all capable of getting double digits, and then you let Emeka spell Murphy with some rebounding and some defense.
Yeah.
The key to this game is going to be when they have to spell Tahaad, can Magwood step up on a big stage in a big game, bright lights, and perform? Because you're going to have to get some quality from your backup point guard position, I think, to beat Houston.
The defense around the rim, I'm very concerned about. We've been concerned about it, since we've really seen this team get going. All right, we got a test. We'll know. We'll know if it's a problem or not pretty quick. We'll know Sunday afternoon. Yeah. And some of it has been communication. Just people not there. The backdoor cut has been there in that 1-3-1 that you've pointed out over and over again in our post games. But also, it's just physically, if I'm Houston, I go at Jovic like crazy. That's I would go after them, and I would just kind of execute on the height matchup, or if Aporum's in, I'm bodying him up. I'm making him slow me down. Like that has got to be Houston's game plan, and I can't wait to see what Stephen Pearl does to counter that.
I think Stephen Pearl is going to switch his. I think the defensive alignments or the defensive sets that he runs against Houston will not look like he did against Bethune-Cookman, Merrimack, or Wofford. I think there's going to be more.
Do you think that'll be by design? Do you think the what they've done the first 3 games has been by design?
I think they were.
Yeah, it's truly a game-by-game basis.
I think they thought they could get away with and play that particular type of defense because of the opponent, and that opponent still revealed some inadequacy. So when you see that, you go, okay, we can't go back to that. We're going to go to a matchup zone or play man or 2-3 or whatever. I think that's important. And then I also think how the freshmen, I mentioned Magwood coming off the bench, how Sebastian Williams-Adams starting matches up to help defensively with interior post defense. He's really good shot blocking, and so is Murphy. And, to me, Jovic is just a little bit soft around the rim, and he just needs to get stronger. So will Houston attack that? Of course they will. He's a great coach. He sees film. Did Auburn not put what they're going to do on film Sunday defensively when they come out and play a particular type of defense? Who knows? Right. I'd be shocked if it looked similar to what it did to the prior 3 opponents.
Yeah, so, nobody's really played anyone. Obviously, you mentioned Bethune-Cookman, Merrimack, and Wofford for Auburn. Looks like they've played Lehigh, Townsend, and Oakland. That's what it looks like. And so it's like we don't really know. We don't know about these teams, but we will on Sunday, and I can't wait. Auburn's averaging 94 points a game. Houston's averaging 72. Auburn's allowing 69. Houston's allowing 50. Curious. I got a feeling the average of this game will be closer towards Houston's side of things. With this one, what you got to score? I'm picking Auburn to win this game.
I think if Auburn gets into the 70s, they win. But I am picking Houston.
You think that's the number is the 70s?
If
I
Auburn
think they get 70.
Yeah, well, look what Houston's given up defensively. I know Auburn's averaging 93 a game, but one of those that skewed those numbers because they went into overtime. I'm predicting Houston 68-62.
68-62. I'm going to go Auburn 71, Houston 68. We'll say the same number there. I just think Auburn's offense is a little bit more. And when that happens, if that happens, the post-game show is going to be electric.
Like it was last year with that tip. It was at midnight, too. I think it was late. Remember how late that game was?
I felt like it was late, too.
Yeah.
But then we're like, oh, my goodness, Tahaad Pettiford.
Oh, it was late. It was late, yeah. But we stayed up. We drank coffee. We had a lot of people in the live, and it was a fun night. Yep.
That was fun. All right, so this game's at 2:00. We'll be live right here as soon as the game's over. So be sure to come back and check everything out. Darrell, Dapprich, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Follow me at X, Dap6410. As you mentioned, we'll be going live. No football this weekend. No football game, so there'll be no Sunday morning show. But we'll have a little barn cast. Sunday's going to be an active day. We'll have the live basketball and then the barn cast with Kyle Rush. So
That's right. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.